right, green arrows across the board here today, perhaps on the back of that exciting Knicks win. We'll see. S&P futures up 0.75%, 0.75%. Dow futures up 0.78%, and the Nasdaq leading the way higher at plus 1.23%. Now let's take a look at some cues from last session, as well as some stocks that we have in focus here for you today. Get you all set for the trading day. Sectors that gained and lost on Wednesday saw most S&P 500 industries, close on a negative note, with industrials, materials, and information technology stocks recording the biggest losses. However, consumer staples and energy stocks bucked the overall market trend and closed the session higher. U.S. stock futures rose on Thursday as the Nasdaq 100, S&P 500, and Dow Jones indices advanced following Wednesday's lower close. Investors are closely watching the upcoming May PPI release, along with the weekly jobless claims before the opening bell. Middle East tensions have escalated significantly as the U.S. and Iran traded direct military strikes following warnings from President Trump that Tehran would, quote, pay the price, end quote, for stalled peace talks. Renewed hostilities have severely disrupted regional stability, prompting neighboring countries like Kuwait to temporarily close their airspace amid the incoming Iranian attacks. That airspace has since been reopened. Meanwhile, the 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.53%, and the 2-year bond was at 4.12%. The CME Group's Fed Watch Tool projections show that the markets are pricing in a 98.3% likelihood that the Federal Reserve leaves the current interest rates unchanged during the June meeting. And despite all of the conflict in the Middle East, oil is actually lower by 1% here ahead of the open. Now, we've got several stocks in focus here for you today, and the first one should be no surprise to anybody. That is indeed going to be Oracle, which reported earnings last night. Oracle, which is ticker ORCL, dropped by 8.87% in the pre-market on Thursday, despite reporting better than expected results for the fourth quarter, as its remaining performance obligations, or RPOs, rose, and the CFO predicted lower gross margins for the fiscal year of 2027. Oracle's adjusted EPS of $2.11 beat the $1.96 estimate, and sales of $19.184 billion beat the $19.095 billion estimate. Oracle also sees fiscal year 2027 adjusted EPS of $8.05 versus the $8.01 estimate, and affirms full year 2027 sales guidance of $90 billion versus the estimate of $88.96 billion. So they beat, and the numbers were good, but that same effect, was it good enough? Doesn't appear to be. The next stock on our list is going to be Oxford Industries. The ticker on this one is OXM, and it fell 6.61% as it reported mixed results for the first quarter. The company raised its fiscal year 2026 earnings guidance while narrowing its sales outlook. The next stock on our list is going to be CoreWeave, and it was 1.35% higher as it announced on Wednesday its intention to offer $3.5 billion in aggregate principal amount of senior notes due in 2032 in dollar and euro denominations. A little bit more on CoreWeave later. The next stock on our list is going to be Visa, and it was up 0.37% as it announced a partnership with OpenAI for AI agent payments. The final stock on our list is going to be Adobe, ticker ADBE, and it was up 0.39% as Wall Street expects it to post quarterly earnings of $5.82 per share on revenue of $6.46 billion after the closing bell today.